In this Atheist Sunday School, we're going to do basic Bible stories. Daniel says no. Lesson number 8. Of course, feel free to like, subscribe, feel free to dislike, I don't care. Feel free to leave a comment, I don't read them. Feel free to watch some of my other videos or go to the description and follow a link to my website. But anyways, let's go ahead and start this wonderful thing. Introduction. The Jews were in captivity. Daniel was a high-born young man who had been carried away as a slave. In the foreign land, there was a need for people of this race to be assistants in the household of the king. The king asked for some young men who could be trained and who could learn the wisdom of the Chaldeans. Throughout all the Israelites, the young men who were high-born and who fit the other qualifications were chosen for this training. We find that in the end, only 4 young men were chosen to stand before the king, and in one of these, we take particular notice. The young man Daniel. And Daniel had been given the privilege of living in the household of the king and eating from the king's table. Daniel realized that he could not eat of the meat of the king's table because it was unclean or had not been killed properly, or had been offered first to idols, and under any of these circumstances, he could not eat it. One of the great verses of the Bible is in Daniel 1:8. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat. Learning to say no takes years of work and labor. You can go to KingJamesBibleOnline.org if you want to read these verses. No blemish. Notice the decisions where Daniel had to say no. The blemish, Daniel 1:4. The word blemish means an external something that causes a person to look inferior. I am sure that there was hippies that let their hair grow long and dress in all about fashion. There had to be the time when Daniel said no to the current fads, fashions, and fallacies. Well-favored, Daniel 1:4. The words well-favored means here to look upon kindly. It means someone who is courteous or kind, who has social graces, who could be looked upon by others with favor at their first meeting. Skillful in all wisdom, Daniel 1:4. This means simple language that these people had to have horse sense. Yeah, it says horse sense. Children must be taught to make proper decisions. Horse sense. Think about that. Cunning and knowledge. Daniel 1:4. This means that the candidates for assistance to the king had to be well educated. There's not a thing wrong with education, as long as they accept the Bible. Even if science and everything contradicts the Bible, you got to believe the Bible. Our young people should be made to understand that a well-educated person has an instrument for use in the business of God. Any person can understand the Bible, but it takes well-educated person to be able to fathom some of the pictures and illustrations drawn in the Bible. Understanding science. Daniel 1:4. To understand science, one must know what makes science work. No one can ever understand science until he puts God in his proper position. Basically, they don't have a clue how science works themselves, but they think they can criticize it. And of course, science doesn't work unless it serves God and only God's purpose. Blah, blah, blah. Daniel sometimes had to say no. There's, ability in them to stand in the king's palace. Daniel 1:4. The word stand here is the word that we would use in the sense of a person standing before another waiting for orders, Daniel purposed in his heart, he purposed his heart to do what he's supposed to do. Would not defile himself, he wouldn't with the portion of the king's meat, nor with wine. Daniel 1:8, Daniel learned that liquor in any shape, form, or fashion is wrong, and I seriously must doubt that verse actually says that. Now God had brought Daniel into favor. Daniel 1:9, Proverbs 16:7. Daniel wanted to be right with God. The king said, I want only those candidates who are members of the right family. Good employers recognize the fact that good Christians make the best employees. Yeah, right. But certainly if a young person is going to do anything in the business of God, he must be of the family of God. Children. Daniel 1:4. The king said, I want those who train to work in my kingdom to be young men. They would probably have been somewhere between 12 and 14 years old. Their training was begun in the things that would make them good assistants to the king. Memory verse, Daniel 1:15. And at the time of 10 days their countenance appeared fairer and fatter than the flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Bye. That's it.